Hello and welcome to Quick Bites. I'm Sam Oches, Editor-in-Chief of Nation's Restaurant News, and once again, I am joined by Jonathan Mays, Editor-in-Chief of Restaurant Business. This is the show where Jonathan and I try to debate the latest news as quickly as possible. We're going to try something a little bit different with our timer this week, Jonathan, but it's still important that we go very, very fast. Are we confident at all that we can be brief and succinct, or no?
No.
Yes, that's the right answer.
So no confidence whatsoever, but let's give it a shot.
I agree with you, but you know what? Let's give it a shot. We're going to put 2 minutes on the timer for our first topic. Ready, set, go. All right, for our first topic, Jonathan, Jersey Mike's dropped a bomb on the restaurant industry when it announced that it had sold a majority stake in the company to Blackstone, a private equity group that also owns Tropical Smoothie Cafe and 7 Brew Coffee. Founder and CEO Peter Cancro will continue to lead the brand. Is this good news for Jersey Mike's? What do we think, Jonathan?
I just think it's news for Jersey Mike's. I mean, I think eventually they were going to have some sort of exit. All family-owned restaurant companies or companies, period, eventually have to go through the succession plan, and whether that would have been an IPO, whether that would have been a sale outright to a strategic buyer or whatever, there are risks in any such transaction. We've seen it over the years with many different companies. I think the interesting thing was the reaction here by consumers about the idea that private equity would own the company. The reaction was overwhelmingly negative to that idea. But I mean, if the private equity group makes the right decisions, there's no reason why they can't continue to do some of the same things that they've done for years. And Peter's staying with the brand. What do you think?
Yeah, as we both know, there's good private equity and there's bad private equity. Like any investment group, like any type of funding, there are good actors and bad actors. We have no reason to believe that Blackstone is a bad actor here and that it should have the best interest in Jersey Mike's at hand. I mean, the good news for Blackstone is they're taking on a company that is doing about $4 billion this year at 3,000 locations and possibly is just getting started. There is still plenty of white space ahead of it. Every reason to believe that Blackstone's investment will help the company invest in technology, invest in growth, and as Peter Cancro himself said in the announcement, they are just in the early innings, so will be exciting to watch. There's the timer on our first.
Oh man, you took the entire time.
Subject.
All right, cool.
We did okay, Jonathan. Okay,
very
first
good.
subject down. What are we talking about next?
We are talking about McDonald's. McDonald's has had a volatile couple of weeks. You might have heard about an E. coli outbreak that hit them in October. That outbreak wiped out some momentum that the chain had developed over the summer. And in October, thanks to value and the chicken Big Mac, and now they have some significant traffic issues and are now returning to value. Sam, what are your thoughts on that?
First, let's start that timer, Jonathan. 2 minutes, go. Let's see. What are my thoughts? McDonald's, my goodness, it's had a busy couple of weeks and months and years, really. Lots to report. Let's start with the E. coli. Jonathan, as your reporting has shown, the E. coli was a big hit to McDonald's and their traffic took a dive, which is too bad because McDonald's had been building momentum throughout the summer. As with most other restaurant companies, they were really wrestling with traffic, but the $5 meal deal seemed to be turning things around. And in the couple of weeks leading up to their E. coli outbreak, as you reported, Jonathan, Placer AI's data shows that their traffic was positive. They were enjoying 3-4% traffic increases in those weeks leading up to E. coli. And then immediately after E. coli, traffic took a dive. There is a big issue, obviously, with trust when a restaurant company goes through something like E. coli. Even though this was contained to about 13, 14 states, when people hear about it, they say to themselves, whoa, I'm going to take a break from McDonald's and wait and see how this plays out. That clearly had a huge impact on McDonald's. Now, they just released, though, their McValue menu. Building off of the $5 meal deal, they're going to continue through 2025 on this value messaging. I think that's going to continue to pay dividends. I think this will help them move past E. coli, continue to drive positive traffic eventually. This might have just been a blip. What do you think, Jonathan?
I think it's going to take a bit. I think step one in at any restaurant is to make sure you don't get your customers sick. Obviously, that doesn't happen all the time. But to your point, McDonald's has, relies on consumer trust in the food. Consumers might have a short memory, but recent history suggests, you just have to go back to Chipotle in 2015. That took a while for the company to recover from that, and the timer is up. But so it's got a bit. They've got a bit to go. It's not going to be a quick reversal for sure.
That's true. Maybe the jug of McRib sauce that they're selling is going to be the ticket to getting people to come back and eat it.
I will not count on that, but I mean,
we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see. All right. We talked about Jersey Mike's earlier. Let's talk about another major sandwich chain, Subway. Jonathan, as you and I record, this is kind of breaking news. We're going to hit the timer now. Let's go now. John Chidsey just announced that he would be retiring to be replaced by Kerry Walsh, who currently serves as the president of Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Subway has had... Well, they've had a tough several years, really slid out of their position of dominance as the major sandwich chain around the world. Jonathan, do we think that shaking up at the leadership at the top could be the thing to get them to turn things around, or is this a bigger project in the making?
Well, yes, it really depends. So one thing I'll say about this is Chidsey's departure was inevitable. I think it's inevitable for everybody, but once that sale to Roar Capital was finalized earlier this year, it pretty much spelled the end for his career at Subway. I mean, I think that Subway is challenging. Subway is really, really, really difficult. They have closed 7,000 United States restaurants since 2015. No restaurant chain, none. No restaurant chain has closed that many locations. Maybe on a percentage basis for sure. Of course, obviously, plenty of them did. But that is a large number of restaurant closures. They still have low unit volumes. They have a very complicated menu. They have franchisees a lot of franchisees are angry. They're still living in the shadow of the $5 footlong. They have immense challenges. I mean, I think John Chidsey did some nice things there for sure. Improving the menu, getting the marketing back on track for sure. Those two things are a big deal. Getting the company focused on digital and starting the process of remodeling locations. But they have a long way to go. And whoever their next CEO, whether it's Kerry Walsh or somebody else getting the permanent job, that is going to be a really big deal. What are your thoughts?
In the 7 seconds I have, I will tell you, I feel bad for Subway that Jersey Mike's Firehouse Subs and Jimmy John's are as strong as they are. Truly, the competition is one of the biggest hurdles for Subway today. And I think they got to lean into value. Value is such a big deal, obviously, this year going into next year. If they can lean into value, but also prove that they can provide quality as part of that and fix their franchise relations, then maybe, just maybe, they could staunch the bleeding and get back to growth. But it's a big job for the next CEO.
Maybe. Regardless. We're going to keep extending this because I have a point that I need to bring up.
Let's do it. And we set the rules here, Jonathan. We set the rules.
Who cares at this point? We've already blown past the minute, 2 minutes anyway. So, but the thing is that this is where the $5 footlong comes into play. Nothing really works very well for them right now because people still remember it was 2012 or 13 at 12 that they went away from that. People still remember $5 footlong. Yeah. They still remember it, and no value has really ever lived up to that. That is going to be their biggest challenge. And then you got to get franchisees. It is a really complicated.
Didn't they just discontinue $6.99? That didn't work for them, right?
They did continue $6.99 because it didn't work. It did not work. Because $6.99 still sounds more expensive than $5. It is a complicated thing. Good luck.
It's complicated. Like I said, big job for the next CEO at Subway. And our big job of doing this in a timely fashion, I think we're doing okay, Jonathan. I think we did pretty good this time.
Okay.
That is all for the latest edition of Quick Bites. Please share your opinions on this news and other news in the comments below and tell us what we should talk about next time. Also, don't forget to head to nrn.com and restaurantbusinessonline.com for more news and insights on the restaurant industry. He's Jonathan. I'm Sam. Thanks for joining us.